What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Criminal Minds Season 12, Episode 19, True North. Science Fair. We've seen people kill because they have psychological need to kill. We've seen people kill because their home life growing up turned them into a sociopath, or psychopath. Can't remember which one's affected by the environment. And then we've seen people kill because they've got a mental disorder, like schizophrenia, that is confusing them and making them kill without even realizing it. This guy killed because he lost a science fair. The emotional depths that this episode travels to is just beyond comprehension. I mean, the science fair killer. Wow. I'm going to be remembering this episode for a long time. Not for the good reasons. Science fair killer, really? Really? We're gonna go there. We're gonna have somebody kill because he lost the freaking science fair? This idea in general is stupid. It's almost as stupid as that one Bones episode where the guy killed because of fantasy football. I mean, come on. This guy's a serial killer because he lost the freaking science fair. I don't think so. That's just beyond dumb. Now, here's the thing. I understand that the main focus right now is on the Spencer stuff. I get that. However, if you're going to have your case take up a majority of the episode, which all of them have in the past few episodes, you've got to make them good. And they have not been good. They've been boring, they've been uninteresting, they've been stupid at times, like this one. I don't understand. If you're going to have stupid cases, if you don't want to focus as much on the cases as you do on Spencer, focus on Spencer more. Devote more time to what Spencer's going through. But they're not. Over half of this episode was the case. There was probably about 10, maybe 15 minutes of Spencer in a 40-minute episode. That means you've got at least 25 minutes to 30 of watching this stupid case where a guy kills because he lost a freaking science fair. So let's talk about the case first, because I'm just going to get it over with, talk about what's wrong with it. First of all, let's talk about the premise. Aside from the fact that he's killing because he lost the science fair, he's killing because when he lost the science fair, that means he couldn't go to college, because you win a scholarship if you won the science fair. I'm going to call bullshit on that. Because I'm not sure if you know this, Criminal Minds, but our country right now is very pro-college. If somebody wants to go to college, most universities, most states everywhere are going to do everything they can to try to get that person to college. They try to do everything they can to get kids who don't want to go to college. Even if they don't need college, they try to get them to go to college. That's how focused on college our country is. And you're telling me because this guy lost the science fair, he couldn't go to college? What was the entire talking point for, well, not the entire talk, what was a big part of the talking point in the last election? Bernie Sanders wanted to do free college. Stupid idea, but that's how big a deal college is in this country. We want to do free college. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere New York is either considering or has already passed a bill to make some colleges free. Stupid idea, but that's how big a deal college is. You are not representing our country very well if you're saying that this guy lost the science fair, which means he didn't get a scholarship, and so he couldn't go to college because of that. What you're more representing is probably the average American, which is he couldn't do it the easy way, so he decided not to do it at all. This idea is really, really dumb. I can't imagine there being somebody who wanted to go to college so bad that he would kill for not getting to go, and we somehow weren't able to get him into college. Come on. The second problem I have is the killing itself. We understand why the last kill happens, because that guy won the science fair. We understand why he kidnapped that woman at the end. Did they ever really explain what happened to the first three? They might have. If they did, I probably just didn't notice it, or I probably wasn't paying attention, because, I mean, honestly, how can you pay attention when a case like this is going on? Just the setup of it is so stupid and boring, I can't really watch it with any interest and really try to figure out what's going on. When they figure out the whole sundial thing, I'm just like, okay, I don't care. Oh, no, it's a clock. Oh, no, never mind. Oh, that's interesting. No, it's not. And especially whenever you've got one of the most boring characters in the world in Stephen Walker talking about this case, that makes it even worse. And then the final scene with the lady that gets kidnapped and then the guy's mother. He kidnaps this lady who's running the science fair because he wants her to tell his mom, who had some sort of medical emergency that left her catatonic or something. I don't know what happened, but somehow she can't talk. She's like paralyzed, but she can still blink her eyes. And so he's like, "Can you hear me? Blink if you can." She blinks. He's like, "I want you to hear something." Brings the woman in. She says, "Your son should have won the science fair," and then he kills his mom. Why? I still don't understand why. Like, he talks about how he wanted to take her to all these places. Not going to college means he didn't get enough money to take her where she wanted to go and all this stuff, and how much he loved her. So why did he kill her? He didn't even get really a confirmation of her approval. He just let her know, oh, this lady said I should have won, and then killed her. It doesn't make any sense, and I don't think we ever got an explanation for it. And then after that, he proceeds to pour water on her feet, and then drops a fan in, and then she has the most over-the-top death I think I've seen in a long time. So much so that the lady that got kidnapped, I can't really tell if she was laughing or crying, because it sounded like, that when people cry, sometimes it sounds like they're laughing. Honestly, it sounded like she was laughing. I'm just like, yeah, that is kind of funny, the way she's like... That's how she was dying. It was actually kind of hilarious. So I will give it points for being unintentionally funny. But that's about it for the case. I mean, JJ and Alva show up. They both have their guns out, pointing at a guy who is slowly like... It's funny, they're like, "Don't move!" And he's like slowly walking over. "Said don't move!" Slowly grabs the thing. "Stop moving! Don't grab that!" He's grabbing it. He's picking it up. He's walking towards the water. "Stop moving!" If you were gonna... Okay, if two people have their guns at me and I'm moving at a snail's pace and I'm able to do this for 10 seconds with them threatening me not to move, I'm gonna keep moving. And frankly, if his idea was to die in the first place, why does bringing out the gun scare him? And then JJ's like, "I'm putting my gun away." Yeah, way to put away the thing that could threaten to kill him when he already has something that can kill him. This scene is stupid. Ultimately, they talk to him a little bit. JJ has time to go outside, shut the power off, which means he drops the thing into the water. It doesn't kill him, and then Alves tackles him, and he's still alive, because that's the important thing in this episode, is keeping him alive for some reason. But that's about it for the case. On to the Spencer stuff, which is the more interesting stuff in this episode. We have Tara going to talk to him, trying to do a cognitive interview, trying to get him to remember what happened in the room. And we get to this scene, it's about halfway through, which is kind of unfortunate that it was halfway through, just because it kind of ruined a couple things for me. But we have this scene where he's trying to remember, and he remembers picking up the knife and stabbing her. Well, a couple episodes ago, I can't remember which one it was, but somebody had commented on one of my videos and said, "Do you think it's possible that Spencer actually killed her? If Scratch convinced him to do it." And honestly, it was something I had considered. But even if that were the case, I felt like the show wouldn't actually go to the, "Oh, Spencer's actually guilty." Ultimately, it would end with, "Oh, but Scratch drugged him to do it," which means he's actually innocent. So I still feel like at the end of this, Spencer's going to get out of jail and be fine. There is a part of me that's concerned that he'll be off the team or something, like he'll take some personal time and just not show up in the next season. Which would be very unfortunate, because we've already lost Morgan and Hotch last season. I don't want to lose Spencer too, because that would take away pretty much all but two of the interesting characters. Because, I mean, okay, well, Rossi is kind of interesting too. Penelope, Rossi, and JJ for me are very interesting characters. Like, they're the ones that I still kind of watch for. Spencer is the other one that's really, really interesting, just because of how much he's been through in his life. And so if they get rid of Spencer, I'd be very upset. But anyway, we get to this moment halfway through the episode where Spencer sees himself stabbing her. And because it's halfway through, and because Tara, in the next scene with her, is so adamant that, oh, it's just Scratch's drugs messing with his mind, he didn't actually do that, I kind of figured, okay, so we're going to find out later that he didn't actually stab her, right? He's just remembering because of Scratch's drugs. Which does kind of takes some of the intrigue out of it, because it would be much more interesting if Spencer actually did stab her because of Scratch's drugs rather than he remembers stabbing her because of his drugs. Well, ultimately, at the end, Tara does convince him that he's just remembering it wrong, that he needs to try to remember something else. And so, he goes back into it and he remembers grabbing the knife to toss it away. That's how he cut himself. And then he feels something on his shoulder, turns around, and it's drug being sprayed in his face. And then he remembers Mr. Scratch being there. But then a second later, he's saying she, so it wasn't Mr. Scratch. And honestly, this is what's curious. I figured there would probably be somebody there who's working for Scratch, but I wasn't really sure. Once he said he saw Scratch, I'm like, okay, well, there you go. But then all of a sudden, it's not Scratch. So I'm curious to see why he mistook this woman for Scratch for a moment, or if Scratch was there and then this woman was also there. So if it was like two assailants at the same time, that'd be kind of interesting. But ultimately, we see it's a woman who is giving him the keys, which probably leads to the truck chase, and says it's time to go. So I don't know who this woman's going to turn out being. Kind of wondering, there was that woman assassin in the last season when all of the, they were taking on the assassins. There was that one assassin that he kind of got close with at the mid-season premiere. So I'm wondering if maybe she's come back somehow. I don't know how she would be able to escape from prison and show up. But it would be curious to see if she's all of a sudden come back and she's working with Scratch because she wants to get back at Spencer for what he did to her, locking her up and all that. But yeah, I'm curious to see where this is going. It's very interesting to see that side of the story, but ultimately it ends up being a poor episode because most of it involves the case, and the case in general is stupid. The idea of it is stupid. There are too many stupid scenes in it, and we still got Stephen Walker on the team, who is just the most emotionless human being, if he is a human being, I've ever seen. So, that's about it for this episode. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Criminal Minds reviews, and I'll see you at the next one.